Well, on the economic front, it's what we're talking about, writing about since May of 2020 that's out of the news. And that's the office buildings going bust. Tracking trends is the understanding of where we are, how we got here to see where we're going. And again, these are my books, Trends 2000, international bestseller, Trend Tracking, far better than Megatrends Time Magazine, Trends Journal. There's how happy this guy is. Nobody knows about this anymore. They don't talk about it. The United States overthrow the democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych in Ukraine in 2014. But going back, the COVID war. In May of 2020, we said that by forcing people to work from home, this is going to be a lasting trend because people are going to realize how much they hate commuting to work an hour and a half each day or whatever, spending all that money. And then the person that's the employer says, I got hundreds of people in 10 floors of buildings, 10 stories here. They're in cubicles. I don't see them anyway. I don't need all this space. There's going to be an office building bust. California was the first state to lock down. Your office vacancy rate, meaning nobody in them, in San Francisco in 2019, before the COVID war, was 3.5%. Now, 37% vacant. Now let's take a trip across America and around the world. Oh, the Canary Wharf over there in UK? Oh, the HSBC, they're pulling out, right? Or how about you have on average 20% of the offices are vacant. Nobody there. Vacant. Now, let's say I'm the guy that owns the building or the group that owns the building. I got my loan coming up. How am I going to pay it? My tenants left. Oh, and these are interest rate loans. And the interest rate is double what it was when they bought the building. So now your interest rates are way up. Your income's way down. You're going to default on the loan. That's going to bring down the banks. There's going to be a banking bust, the likes of which we've never seen in the history of the world, part one or part two. No one's talking about it. Now, when they launched the COVID war, they artificially propped up the economies by dumping in trillions and trillions of dollars of money backed by nothing and printed on nothing and zero interest rate policy. Everybody's throwing money into the banks, right? What did the banks do with that money? Oh, they bought treasuries. Oh, when they were zero interest rate? So now they got these treasuries that are worth nothing. They don't have the money to back the losses of the defaults on the office building bust. Banks are going to go bust. No one is talking about this because when the banks go bust, that's going to crash the equity markets and the global economy. And if you don't believe me, go back a little over a year ago. Signature Bank, First Republic, and Silicon Valley Bank went bust. 3 banks. Markets went way down, gold prices went way up. That was 3 banks. Now, according to some data, you almost have 300 banks that are facing maximum defaults from office buildings going bust. That is the biggest economic issue that we see. Again, out of the news, nobody's talking about it. And the dollar's going to go down when they lower interest rates. That's the only reason the dollar's strong. And much of the world has had enough of America's economic and geopolitical hegemony. The BRICS are going to get bigger, and they're going to do everything they can to get rid of the dollar. And it's ridiculous. There's no solving this problem. The debt's not going to be paid off. You're looking at it adding $1 trillion every 100 days to the debt level. And now you have high interest rates, so it's even costing more to service the debt. There's no way they're going to ever do it. But the middle classes just keep shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. The data came out that they did a study of like over 500 counties in the United States, and 80% of the houses were unaffordable to the middle class. And then again, going back to the bigs, back in 2023, they bought almost 30% of the homes, and then they rent them to people. And that happened, by the way, with the panic of '08. And that was caused, part of it, by the subprime mortgages. You don't have a job, you're deep in debt, don't worry about it. Sign over here, you could buy a house. So whenever all these foreclosures happened, the Blackstones and the others started buying up all of these homes. And they're going to be the owners. America, I call it plantation workers of Slavelandia. The middle class is dead. Here's some data right here. Let's see. According to a report published by ATTOM, A-T-T-O-M, which examined 572 U.S. counties and determined that median-priced homes is about 80% of those in those areas are out of reach for the average income earner, who makes $71,214. In fact, the major home ownership expense on typical homes sold during the second quarter required an annual income of almost $91,000 in order to consider affordable, which is 25% higher than the average national income. What middle class? It's stupidity and ignorance. Go to the Cartoon News Network, CNN, today. Front page story. A guy from one of the richest families in India is getting married. They're going to have a lavish wedding. What are you telling me this shit for? Why are you telling me this? There's no news anymore. Journalism's gone. Again, tracking trends is the understanding of where we are, how we got here, and where we're going. A little slime ball, an arrogant piece of crap, a little warmongering guy that couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag, bombs away over Baghdad every time he got caught with his pants down, Bill Clinton, in 1996 gave us the Federal Communications Act that allowed the bigs to buy up everything. There were thousands of independent radio stations, television stations, newspapers back then. Now 6 companies own 92% of the media. So if you believe in crap, you listen to Fox crap. If you believe in different kind of crap, you listen to NPR crap. So whatever crap you believe in, those are the stations that you tune into. That's the attitude. Rather than what in the world is going on? What do I have to know? And by knowing this, what can I do? No, that's not allowed anymore. You have to be on a side. And so the journalism is dead. And we're the last of it. Yeah, it's a joke. Here, this is from the New York Times. Look at the big picture they have here. What do I need this big picture for? You know why? Because once upon a time, you go back, Google it up, New York Times, 1970s. No pictures. Maybe a little picture here and there. They had no journalists. They fired everybody. And in America, as we're talking about, the British are taking over. This is the country we fought against. Who's running CNN? Oh, somebody from the UK. Who's running the Wall Street Journal? Oh, someone from the UK. Washington Post. Oh, someone from the UK. Bloomberg. Oh, someone from the UK. Daily Call. Oh, someone from the UK. One after another. It's gone. You're not getting journalism. They're prostitutes. They're media whores that get paid to put out by their corporate and their government whoremasters. Yeah. America's trustworthy. Germany's trustworthy. Oh, France is trustworthy. Oh, the UK is so trustworthy. Oh, yeah. What are they talking to 6-year-olds? Trustworthy? Look at the little freaks running the show. Trustworthy? Grow the hell up. They've had enough of America. They've had enough. All right. Tell you a quick gold story. I have a photograph of me and John Connally. John Connally was the governor of Texas that sat in front of JFK and took the bullet in the back when they slaughtered Kennedy. He wanted to meet me because in this book, Trend Tracking, that I wrote in 89, I had forecast a new third party, and someone like Ross Perot would be the candidate. So he wanted to meet me. So I met him in Dallas. I have a photograph, I'll show it to you later, of me, him, and his wife in front of the book depository where Kennedy got assassinated. His first time back since the assassination. And he said to me, we're going back into the Anatole Hotel. This has to do with gold. I read your book. He said, it's a fine piece of work. And I know your heart's in the right place. But you don't have a clue what's going on. And neither do the American people. Now remember, this is the John Connally that was the governor, Democratic governor of Texas that took the bullet in the back. He was also the U.S. Treasury Secretary under the Republican Richard Nixon that took us off the gold standard in 1971. They invented this thing about taking us off the gold standard so they could keep creating fake money backed by nothing and printed on nothing. Again, tracking trends is the understanding of where we are, how we got here, and where we're going. I grew up during the 70s. I got born in 46. I was there in the 70s when inflation was skyrocketing. What brought inflation up? Oh, you forgot about the Vietnam War? When they pumped all this fake money in to keep fighting that war? No, we're not going to talk about that. Nobody talks about it. Inflation was skyrocketing. They got rid of gold so they could keep dumping fake money into the system. Go back to the COVID war. Go home. Close down your business. Hey, here's money. Don't worry about it. What did Trump dump in? Like $4 trillion, $3 trillion or something? Biden another couple of trillion more? Where'd you get this money from? So yeah, the dollar's going to die. It's not a matter of when. If, it's a matter of when. And when they start lowering interest rates, the dollar's going to go way down. And price of gold is going to go way up. And we don't give financial advice either. We just tell you this is the way we see it, and this is why. Do what you want. Think for yourself is the motto of the Trends Journal. World War III has already begun. It was the cover of our Trends Journal magazine 2 days before the Ukraine war began. February 22nd, 2022. From COVID war to Ukraine war to World War. Just something's going to make it official. And the official thing is going to be a false flag that will get the people in, to support it. And again, one after another, they're saying, it's begun. It's begun. And they're not going to stop. And in Israel, I got to write about this stuff week after week. We have the whole article in this week's Trends Journal about Iran saying that if you attack Lebanon, we're going to attack you and we're going to wipe you out. People got to get to Israel's only a country, about 8-10 million people in it? That's it. You're not going to beat all these other people. Look what happened when the Israelis assassinated that commander in Damascus, Syria, in their consulate. And Iran retaliated by sending in loads of drones and missiles. They didn't kill people. They sent them into specific areas to show what they could do. It cost Israel $1.3 billion to blow up those. What was their retaliation? Almost nothing. These are the Persians. They've been around a long time. They're very advanced people. And so the war's already begun. And as I say, when all else fails, they take it to war. People forgot about the 39 weeks of judicial protest against Netanyahu for his judicial reform, because he's being brought up on charges, and he wanted to use judicial reform so he wouldn't have to go to be brought up on them. 39 weeks, not my language, the language of the Prime Minister of Israel, Isaac Herzog. Again, this is before October 7th. Israel is in a civil war. There was a civil war. Hamas attacks, all forgotten. When all else fails, they take it to war. What followed the dot-com bust? The war on terror. What followed the Great Depression? World War II. I tell everybody, Google up Franklin Roosevelt seizes Japanese assets in July of 1941. Google it up. History Today, mainstream. Seized all Japanese assets. The British and the Dutch put sanctions on Japan that cut off 3/4 of their global trade and 88% of their imported oil. They only import 100%. You cut off 3/4 of their trade, stole their money, and you know why? Those dirty Japanese invaded French Indochina. Wait a minute. Number one, I'm an American. What the hell do I care what happened in French Indochina? And what is the French Foreign Legion doing in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos? And you're calling it French Indochina? What, am I 6 years old? Why, of course you are. You listen to my crap. I'm the president. Oh, what are you doing over there? Oh, we're stealing their tin, their rubber, rape, pillage, murder. Oh, and those dirty Japanese took over Cameron Air Force Base, which is only 800 miles from the United States base in the Philippines. What the hell are we doing in the Philippines? Oh, and the British were in Singapore. What the hell are the British doing? Well, the sun never sets on the British Empire. We could steal anything we want. All right? 80% of the people in America were against getting involved in World War II. Pearl Harbor happens, off to war. They're going to do the same thing.